Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Lots to discuss this morning. I'm sure many of you saw Bissouma playing last night for Brighton. What were your thoughts on him? Very interesting update on Victor Lindelof, which may not be massive news, but I think it's quite an interesting story to develop. But we're going to start off with a couple of things. We're going to start off with Paul Pogba. Actually, obviously he's not available for Manchester United at the moment, but there is a bit of a headache that's not really. That's not really being acknowledged, which I think is a big issue in relation to Manchester United's build-out for next season. We need Paul Pogba back right now. Obviously, he's injured. There's nothing that can happen about that. But we do need a definitive answer on what's happening with Pogba now. We've spoken about it for the last few weeks, saying no decisions are going to be made until the end of May because that's when the season ends and he needs to see what's available. And then if there's nothing available, he'll probably sign the contract with United if United offer him a contract. But I do feel that Manchester United, they're almost like, well, maybe you've been in the situation yourself, but I don't know, your dream girl or your dream boy, let's be diverse, your dream girl or your dream boy, and they say to you, you ask them to marry you, and they say, I might be getting a better offer in the next few months, and if I don't get a better offer, then I'll do it. It's like that film In Between Us, isn't it, where Will, the one with the glasses, he gets friends with the good-looking blonde girl, and she's getting it on a regular from her boyfriend, but she says, and he says he's a virgin, and he said basically she says, if you're still a virgin by the time you're 30, I'll lose it with you, and he makes her sign a contract, whatever. That's a little bit like what Manchester United could potentially be doing with Paul Pogba, because if they are asking Paul Pogba to sign the new contract and he's like, I'm waiting for a better offer, but if it doesn't come along, I'll come back to you, which is what could happen in the summer. Man United might have a contract ready for Pogba, and Pogba's like, I like that contract, but not enough at the moment. I want to see if I get a better offer from Real Madrid or Juventus to marry me. But then they say no, and you marry them. All right, you get Pogba, but you're third or fourth best. And, is that the grounds for a good relationship? Is that the grounds for a good future with Paul Pogba when at the moment he doesn't want to be here? But if he does stay, we know he's... Effectively, I think we all know if Pogba stays at Manchester United, it's because he can't get a better offer elsewhere. Is that the foundations for a good future relationship? On top of that, if he keeps us waiting until the summer and we're like, oh, fingers crossed, I've had the carpets done, I've got a new car, I painted the bedroom pink and I've got some ambient music, I'll win him round. The reality is, if he says no and he does go for the better offer, you're left, with something in your hand having to do it yourself. And that's the reality. So I do think that there is a transfer headache for Pogba, but there's also a transfer headache for Manchester United. A very serious one, and I hope the club have definitive plans in place, because if we're going to wait till the summer to see what happens with Paul Pogba, then we could well end up at home with a pot noodle and a what. So the reality is we do need to put things in place. Now, on Pogba at the moment, the situation with Pogba at the moment is that Real Madrid is probably where he wants to go. He's been to Juventus, he's at United, he wants to go to Spain and Real Madrid. Barcelona can't afford him. But the point I'm making is that they don't necessarily have the money. Legan Sweet, thanks for the super chats, but just because you pay a fiver doesn't mean I'm going to read out abuse from a Man City fan about Man United. You can jog on. So the joke's on you. I'll shout your name out, but I'm not shouting out about Man City just because you haven't got a bloody fan channel. You think you can come on top of the league? Well done. You're top of the league with your oil tap on full blast. But the reality is, you ain't got a fan channel. This is the problem with your football club. You can buy success, you can buy trophies, you can buy good players, you can buy managers, but you can't buy fans. If you're such a big football club, why has Man United got the United Stand? Why has Arsenal got AFTV? Why has Liverpool got Redmen TV? And what's Man City got? No TV. Nothing. You've got absolutely nothing because you've got no fan base. And this is your problem. You can keep winning trophies and well done, you're playing really, really well. But you got no fans. Nobody wants to listen or watch what you're talking to. That's why you on 10 o'clock in the morning are watching the United Stand. If I wasn't doing the United Stand and had interesting things to talk about and I was a Man City fan, I wouldn't be getting up at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. I'd be in bed doing something else. But, Anyway, let's go back to Paul Pogba. So the thing, Pogba to Real Madrid is probably quite unlikely because they want Camavinga, they want Mbappe, they've got deals to do with Alaba, Varane and Ramos. There's not a lot of cash at Real Madrid, and effectively, as much as they might want Pogba, he's lower down the list than maybe an Haaland or an Mbappe, maybe even a Camavinga, which leaves just Juventus for Pogba. And again, Juventus do have money issues. So we could well end up in a situation, and I think maybe United are hoping for this, that Pogba runs out of options and says, I'll marry you, third or fourth option. And I think Woodward's happy to put the bride's dress on and go, let's get down the aisle. Because there isn't a lot of noise around Manchester United's plans if Paul Pogba leaves United, even though he wants to go and Raiola is working hard on a deal. And United need to put things in place, because if we buy a centre-back and we buy a right winger, but Paul Pogba leaves, we're weaker next season, because midfield is where games are won and lost. You take Pogba out of our midfield, Fred, McTominay, Matic, Van der Beek, Bruno, that's weaker than all those same players with Paul Pogba. So who's the replacement going to be? What are Manchester United planning to do? And I feel that Manchester United almost need to make a decision. Pogba's not signing the contract you want him to sign. So you need to be proactive, ruthless, and act like a big club and say, he doesn't want to be here anyway. By hook or by crook, he's off in the summer. We're not keeping him. He can go. Whether we have to take a big hit or not, he can go. And we need to look at plans in the future. Because my concern is, Pogba gets no offer that he wants. United are there with their 350k a week, which I'm pretty sure they will offer. And Pogba signs it and goes, well, it's not too bad here. We get Paul Pogba on a 3-year contract with Raiola still gobbing off every month, and Pogba picking up 2 or 3 injuries a year. So I just think United have got to, see the wood for the trees really, and think, look, there's the contract, Paul. Oh, I'm not going to. I'll wait and see what happens in the summer. Fine. We're buying someone else, you're off anyway. I think we need to be proactive, because my concern is there doesn't seem to, on evidence over the last few years in transfer windows, we're not the most proactive. And if we're going to sit there waiting to see what happens with Pogba, we'll be working on a centre-back, we might be working on Sancho, Pogba goes and we don't invest in the midfield, and then next season we buy a centre-back, we maybe get a right winger in, but we're like, Pogba's left the midfield, that's the big hole in the team now. Oh look, all next season we're like, if only we had a midfielder. And I think we need to be decisive. And looking at Bissouma, we will end up with Benteke, Ramos, Ribery with Ed in charge. I don't trust any of the CDM rumours. Ed is a cancer that needs to be let out of transfers, says Rudy Cox. I like Bissouma. The interesting thing is, I think I would prefer Declan Rice over Bissouma because of the age gap, and I think Declan Rice has got more potential. But I think with Bissouma at Brighton, the thing that's really impressive about him, I'm just going to have a sip of coffee. Scott says we should go for Ndidi, mates. Well, Samari is linked with Leicester. That is true. Romano did tweet out yesterday that Leicester are interested in Samari from Lille. But, I think United need to go for an Ndidi. Well, I don't think we'd get an Ndidi, but an Ndidi, a Declan Rice, a Bissouma. What I like about Bissouma is that he plays for Brighton. He plays really well against everybody in the Premier League. And it's a harder job to play for Brighton than it is for Chelsea or Manchester United, because you're playing with a team that's not as good, and yet he's still impressing. So it's a bit like Lamptey, he's got that quality to play at a high level, and I think Bissouma has. But the thing I like about Bissouma is that with 2 years left on his contract, Brighton can't demand 60 million. I think 30 million and you probably get him, which is very, very good price. On top of that, 25 in August, he's, there's not like there's potential there. It's like you buy him, he goes straight into your matchday squad. And I think that's what I like about Bissouma, because I like Declan Rice, but you're probably going to have to go north of 60 million to get him. Are we going to do that when we need a centre-back? But with Bissouma, it's a cleverer signing. It's more about, you bring him into the team. I think the fans would be very happy with the signing, but I don't think the fans would expect. I think if we brought Declan Rice in and he didn't settle in straight away, they'd be like, oh God, we've done another Harry Maguire, we've wasted a load of money. Whereas if you get Bissouma for 30 to 40 million quid, I think people will be very happy with it, but we're not going to expect him to be the next, Fabinho or Kante or something like that. But I think he has that ability to play at this level and be really, really important. So I would like him. I mean, Suban says I'd like Bissouma and Rafinha from Leeds. Good, cheap, very underrated players. I'll tell you what, if we don't get Bissouma, somebody like Spurs, Arsenal, Leicester will, and he'll be brilliant for them. I'm telling you now, Bissouma. I don't normally do this. I did it with Bruno. I did it with Fabinho. We didn't get him. I'm telling you now,
Whoever gets Bissouma, we're going to be going, we should have done that deal. And I guarantee they'll get him for less than 40 million. Liverpool might have a go. With Wijnaldum going, they might go for Bissouma, and I can see why. But I'm telling you, if Man United have got any ears to the ground in relation to what fans are talking about, Bissouma is a brilliant player to go for. If Pogba leaves, I think it'd be absolutely what we're looking at. Because people say, well, you lose the creativity with Pogba going. Is that not what Van der Beek's for? But Bissouma would give us that sort of defensive shield. But he is more than capable, on the ball as well. I think he's exactly the sort of player that we should go for. Oris says go for Zakaria. I mean, I do like Zakaria. Let's watch him on Wednesday night if he plays against Man City. But, I'm starting to believe in the Bundesliga curse. There is an issue with Bundesliga players coming to the Premier League, and it makes me wonder about the Bundesliga in general. So I'm not worried about that. Toby says he isn't a CDM. Yeah, but I definitely think he could play in a pivot very, very well at Manchester United. Remember, we play a 2. You just need one who's more defensive minded, and I think Bissouma can play that role. Obviously, at Brighton, he's going to have more licence to get forward because he's their best midfielder. But I think at Manchester United, it's a bit like when we bought Roy Keane from Forest. He was scoring a lot of goals for Forest. He was a bit of a box-to-box player. Came to Manchester United and became a CDM. This is what when you're a good midfielder at a weaker club, you'll have more responsibility. When you come to a better, bigger club, you'll get a more defined role, and I can see him being a very good CDM for Manchester United in a midfield pivot. Mark, take a punt on Kante. Your thoughts, says Mikhail? No. I think Kante would be another Matic, another Schweinsteiger, a former great player who is clearly on the decline. So no for Kante for me. If Pogba leaves, we play Van der Beek as box-to-box. We need a CDM who can play on their own to do this. We need a centre-back and a CDM in the summer, says Fergus. I totally agree. And Pogba will go to PSG. He'll want to play in his own country and win things easily. Plus PSG have the cash to buy him, says Quinstar. Well, yeah, keep your eye on PSG. I mean, PSG don't seem to be mentioned. I think the most likely destination for Pogba at the moment, and I don't really understand it, is Juventus. So he'll have gone Man United to Juventus to Man United to Juventus. I don't really understand that, but Riola's got very good connections with Juventus. So I think at the moment, I would say Juventus is most likely. I don't think Real Madrid. Legend and Sweets there again with abuse about Manchester United. We're not reading it out, mate. Thanks for your super chat. You aren't getting Kante, says Noah. We don't want Kante either. What can Bissouma do that Fred can't, says Napoli? Well, he can pass a ball better for a start. I think he's more mobile as well, and I think he's a better tackler, and I think he's better on the ball. But look, Fred's been very good for us this season, and Fred's underrated. I just don't see the evolution of Fred as a CDM, which is what we need at the football club. And as I said at the start, I would prefer Declan Rice anyway. I really would. So yeah, I think in summary of the Pogba situation, unlikely to be going to Real Madrid. Maybe PSG do come in, Juventus as well. But this decision's not going to happen till the summer. And I do feel that Man United are waiting in line, hoping that it all falls apart so he can stay with them. When really we need to be decisive. The reality is, Riola's trying to get Pogba out of Man United, and he's doing everything he can to do that. And United just seem to be sat there going, oh, let's hope it all falls apart and he comes back and signs a contract with us, which I don't think it's the basis for a happy future anyway. So we need to be looking about Pogba replacements now, because he has to be replaced. You can't just let him go and say centre back and a right winger will be fine. We need it. Bundesliga curse with Jadon Sancho then, says Alex. I don't know with that. I mean, maybe, he's played a lot of years in Bundesliga, and although he's a young English player, doesn't mean he wouldn't have the Bundesliga curse. There'd be a lot of pressure on Sancho as well. Probably the biggest pressure signing we've made since Paul Pogba. Expectation-wise, can you imagine what the press are going to be like about Jadon Sancho? Every touch will be scrutinised, every pass. So there'd be a massive amount of pressure on Sancho. Adrian says, hey Mark, what if United went for Kimmich? As much as I don't think he'd move from Bayern, I personally think it'd be a great addition if Pogba leaves. Well, he won't leave. And what do you do a Pogba-Bentancur swap? He's a CDM, says Stephen Donahue. I like Bentancur, Uruguayan CDM at Juventus. I do like him, still early 20s. But apparently Man United might have been offered that last summer and they didn't fancy it. So I suppose the thing about Bentancur is, and I'd leave this to those people who watch Serie A and Juventus as well, do you think Bentancur would adapt to the speed of the Premier League? Because there's a definite speed difference. I do like him. I'd consider it. But
in fairness, maybe United are concerned about that. Ryan says, brilliant channel, keep me sane through lockdown. Can you call my mate Luke White a prat, please? It says Ryan Lees. Ryan says you're a prat. A few things I want to just bring you as well. I read this last night on MUFC MPB, and it's from a journalist called Gianluigi Longari, who's an Italian journalist. And basically, a couple of comments really. Man United are following Sevilla. God, my eyes are watering again. Man United are following Sevilla French centre-back Jules Koundé, but have not made an offer at this moment. So the scouting of Koundé seems to be real. It is circulating around a lot at the moment. But as per what I spoke yesterday, United holding back, snoozing and losing. I think with Koundé, at some point, somebody's going to contact Sevilla and get a deal done. And it might be Chelsea. United can't keep scouting and waiting till the summer to do deals with players. You've got to move quicker than that. I'd go for St Maximum, says Quinstar. But the second bit of information was quite interesting from the same journalist. Victor Lindelof has a long contract at Manchester United and will not be allowed to leave. Now, I don't know what we're going to do with Victor Lindelof, but the only future Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire have got is as a comedy duo, as a comedy act. They've got no future. I think even if they played well for 5 games, they won't do it for a year. They won't do it for 5 months. They are calamitous as a centre-back pairing, and it's no good for Lindelof and it's no good for Maguire. And it's been mentioned before, it's not really about the individual ability. They're just not good enough as a pairing. So what is Lindelof's future at Manchester United if we're going to buy a centre-back to play with Harry Maguire? He becomes a 3rd, 4th choice centre-back. And I actually don't mind that. I said this last night. I don't think Lindelof is a player that we need to sell. He is on a long contract. I don't think there'll be a big queue of people to buy him. And I think, again, Lindelof is probably going to end up being another Chris Smalling, another Marcus Rojo, somebody we gave a long, big contract to that now we didn't have any future planning to think, what if he's not good enough? So I can see Lindelof staying at Manchester United, and I can see him becoming our 3rd, maybe 4th choice centre-back. When you think about it, we don't actually want to go and sell Victor Lindelof. But what needs to happen with Lindelof is he needs to stop playing with Harry Maguire. That has to stop, and it has to stop very, very soon. Whether it's going to happen before the summer, I doubt it. I think they'll both be starting together against Newcastle tomorrow, and every team who plays against them's got a chance. I mean, look, I think about the game against Chelsea next week, and we're going to probably play Lindelof and Maguire, and I think, oh, God, But I don't necessarily think United will be looking to sell Lindelof, and I think there's probably some element of truth in that. I don't think there'll be a shortage of takers for Lindelof. I've always felt that Lindelof would suit the La Liga very well. Bloody hell, Real Sociedad's defence on Thursday night was like if it's even possible, it was like a Poundland version of Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof. And I think that Lindelof could be a very good Barcelona defender, Sevilla defender. I think he could do that, but not at Manchester United unless we're selling Maguire and bringing a partner in that he can play. I think Lindelof and Bailly would play well. Pogba wants to go to Madrid, says Yazza Said. Well, he can want. I don't think he's going to get that deal. What position does Hannibal play for the under-23s squad, says Dylan. He sort of plays off the striker, sort of like a number 10. Attacking midfielder, can play to the left and the right as well. So another creative, really. Lindelof Koundé swap, says Johan Thomas. I don't know whether Sevilla would want to do that. I don't know whether he'd want to do that at all. So, I don't know whether Sevilla would want to do that. I think that's the main thing. We should go all in for Koulibaly, says Seish. I don't know. At that age, I think he's 30 now, isn't he? So I don't know whether that would be a good idea, to be honest with you. But we'll see what happens with that. There is an Ajax player, Brian Brabby, I think his name is, or Brobby. Actually played for Ajax on Thursday night and scored a goal against Lille. He's out of contract in the summer. Mark Overmars has said they've done everything they can to keep him, but he'll be leaving. There's a lot circulating that his dream is to play for Manchester United, and there's a little bit mentioned around our socials last night and this morning about getting him. I mean, look, he's played 84 minutes for Ajax. It's very difficult to say what he's all about. 2 goals and an assist, I think he's got. He looks quick. He looks good. But he's a client of Mino Raiola, and I think Ajax are starting to feel the impact that Mino Raiola has on football and football clubs. you put a lot of work into a player and then they won't sign a new contract and then they go, and Raiola makes a lot of money. It's something he's been doing very effectively for years, and football clubs don't seem to be wise to it, or are powerless to do anything about it, because they might have a young player and then the next thing they're like, Raiola's my agent, and the club goes, oh shit. And Gravenbach at Ajax is a Mino Raiola client. But will this lad be coming to Manchester United? Of course he won't. He might be a Man United fan who wants to play at Manchester United, but his agent's Mino Raiola, and we should be avoiding this sort of thing. I think I read in Italian reports that he's going to go to Leipzig anyway, but I thought I should just bring it up because he is out of contract. He's 19. He's free. It's nearly 4 years since Manchester United Football Club won a trophy. Unacceptable to the highest order. We need the winning mentality back, says Zed Jamie. And look, very, very quick point there. What a big weekend of Premier League football this is. We don't play till Sunday night, but by then, Chelsea play tomorrow. Play at lunchtime. I'm doing a watch along on Mark Goldbridge. That's football. If you want to join me for that, actually. Obviously, Everton are playing Liverpool at 5:30. Tomorrow, you've got Villa playing Leicester, and you've got West Ham playing Spurs. By the time we play tomorrow night, a number of results may have gone our way. That if we beat Newcastle, it gives us a bit of breathing space again in the top 4 race. On the other hand, they could all go wrong and put a bit of pressure on us. So it's a massive, massive weekend. But as Jamie said there, we're not going to win we're not winning a trophy for where we finish in the league this season. There's no trophy for second place or third or fourth, and we're not going to finish first place. So, I do think that as much as I was concerned about the Europa League and our squad, the way Thursday night worked, we were really lucky. We deserved to win it, but we're lucky that we got 4 because it means that the second leg is dead and you can rest players and give them a week off. And hopefully we start to get some players back fit. Because, you know what, I think Solskjaer is a lucky manager and you need that. And we are still in the FA Cup. We are in the Europa League and we're clearly going to give the Europa League a go. So, can we get past that semi-final and win a trophy? Can we get top 4 as well? I think we're in for a very exciting, few months. We're second in the league at the moment. We're in the FA Cup. We're in the Europa League. Of course, that trepidation and lack of trust will be there amongst fans. I'm not going to say we're going to win a trophy because we've failed so many times. But I think Zed Jamie's right. I think we do need to win a trophy, whether it will be this season or not. Let's just wait and see. But I still believe that top 4 is more important because we've been in the top 4 for so long. We've even been top of the league. I think if we drop out the top 4, that's failure. What about a Pogba Verratti swap or something like that, or get Camavinga and Brozovic together? Well, Verratti's another Mino Raiola client, Jude, and I just don't think Man United want to deal with Raiola anymore. Lindelof and Diaz partnership, says Yazza. How would that work? I don't know how that would work. Are we just talking hypotheticals now? Because we can all come up with hypothetical centre-back partnerships, but we're not going to sign Ruben Diaz from Man City, are we? And I don't think Man City are going to want to sign Lindelof. So I don't see anything happening with that one, to be honest with you. Interestingly, last night, Marcus Rashford was answering some questions on Twitter. Who's your favourite player from the Bundesliga? Jadon Sancho. Sorry for Peter Rabbit, says Akshat. If you know, you know. Marcus Rashford talking about Jadon Sancho doesn't get me excited because the cold, harsh fact is that Jadon Sancho wanted to come to Manchester United last summer and United wanted Sancho to come as well. So there's no issue with Sancho wanting to come to United, and there's no secret that Sancho gets on with people like Marcus Rashford, and I'm sure Marcus Rashford would love Jadon Sancho at the club as well. But it's not about that. Anything we discuss, whether it's Koundé, Pogba, Sancho, Declan Rice, Bissouma, it's not about whether the players want to come to United. I think they do, except for Pogba, who probably wants to go, to be fair. But it's about the competence of the board in relation to buying those players. And unfortunately, over the last 15 years, United have had plenty of players that should be wearing Man United shirts, but aren't because of our incompetence in relation to negotiating and getting deals over the line. And, I hate to repeat it, but over the last 14 months, Erling Haaland should have signed for United, Jude Bellingham should have signed for Manchester United, Jadon Sancho should have signed for Manchester United, a centre-back should have signed for Manchester United, and the list goes on. So we are always going to be in the hands of this lack of competence in relation to transfer acquisition and negotiations. And it goes back to what we were talking about last night about our director of football. No break before City. West Ham game midweek now, says Johnny B. Goodwin. It's Crystal Palace actually before. There is no gap. There was a week off between Chelsea and Man City, but they've Premier League have stuck Palace in there on the Wednesday night now, so we don't get a week off. But Man City are playing every few days as well. But the next week is an opportunity, to be fair. We play on Sunday against Newcastle, we play Chelsea the following Sunday, and on Thursday we're playing Real Sociedad. That is an opportunity. I don't want to see Bruno playing a minute. I don't want to see Rashford playing a minute. There's no real reason that Maguire needs to play. We're 4-0 up. Put them on the bench. You can make 5 subs. If we're 3-0 down at half time, make 5 subs, get 5 senior pros on to win us the game. But we don't need... It's going to be really interesting next Wednesday whether Ollie does play Maguire, because I don't think Bruno will play. I don't think Rashford will play. But I guarantee you probably will pick Maguire, and Maguire will obviously want to play, much like Bruno will want to play. But Ollie's got to go, and he can't keep talking about the relentless nature of this season if you're not going to take a rest for your players that's being delivered on a plate. It's Deliveroo. You're being delivered a week off. Take it. We're 4-0 up. If you can't trust Bailly and Lindelof or Twansebi and Bailly against Real Sociedad, why are they Manchester United pros? And I think it's a really important thing for Ollie. He's got to rest his team next week and give them a week off. He can't do it completely because miracles can happen. He will have to keep some of these players on the bench, but they'll be training anyway. It's not like they're off on holiday or anything like that. But just give them a week off from playing twice a week. And I'll repeat what I just said there. If you can't trust Twansebi and Bailly or whoever your centre-back partnership is and give Maguire a game off, then why are those players at the club? You cannot keep running players into the ground just because you don't trust your other players. And if you don't trust them, you may as well get rid of them anyway. Milo says, I'm on the Koundé Express. You know that my problem with Koundé is he would be the player I want United to sign. But how many times have we been on this road where we say this is the player that we want and then we don't do it? So I would love to get Koundé, but I feel that United will mess it up. Please smash a like on the video, by the way, if you're watching. We've got over 7,000 watching, which is great for a Saturday morning show. Koulibaly's perfect for us, says Seish. He's strong, he's fast, and he's experienced. He's also 30. Mark, don't you think it gets exhausting for you to think so much about transfers? Get excited about players and then be let down. Frustrating for me, says Angie S. Well, this is why we love football, isn't it? If I got exhausted with Man United transfers, I'd have stopped doing this 3 years ago. The reality is that it's exhausting if you believe United are going to do it. But the thing that makes you interested, the thing that makes you passionate, the thing that keeps you reading and finding stuff out is the fact that we have got holes in the team and they do need to be filled. So, and everybody knows that. So we've got to do that. But the trust in what we will bring in, yeah. I mean, look, if we buy Tyrone Mings in the summer, forget about it, Forget about it. What about Wesley Fofana from Leicester? No, Michael Kofi. I don't know why people mention Fofana, because he's only been at Leicester for 6 months. They're not going to sell him in the summer. And also, do you not remember what Leicester did to us with Maguire? I mean, talk about... Well, I'm not going to say the word, but they did bend us over. Breaking news, Man United have contacted Declan Rice about a transfer, says Denzel. Not seen that, doubt it's true. And Lindelof and Twansebi partnership, says Mohammed. It could work, Twansebi's not too bad in the air. Mark, Ollie said he won't take the second leg easy as he wants to build momentum. Says Adrian. Well, he's got to say that, Adrian, hasn't he? He's got to save that. He's got to say that, but the reality is, you're not taking it easy by picking Tellez, Twansebi, Bailly and Williams as your back four. It's still a good back four and it's giving game time to people who need it, but you're resting people like Maguire, Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. Did you see that Luke Shaw said about Amad Diallo on his interview on Sky, and that Maguire said to Luke that he reminds him of Mahrez at Leicester? I wouldn't listen to what Harry Maguire says about people. I mean, I've seen Diallo play... probably twice. I don't see similarities with Mahrez at all. Mahrez is a very tall winger for a start. I think Amad Diallo's clearly got a lower sense of gravity. I'm never a big fan of new players having to be the next this or the next that. Sometimes you get players that have got very similar profiles to others. I think when Greenwood broke through, there was very big similarities to Van Persie, but you don't have to do it with everybody. I don't think Marcus Rashford's similar to anybody. I don't think Bruno Fernandes plays similar to anybody. They're their own players in their own rights, and I want Diallo to be that. I don't want people to think of him as a the new Mahrez. Good morning, United Stand community. Mark, thanks for all you're doing, says Marveloso216. Thanks for the super chat there. I am doing watch-alongs today. Somebody did ask about that. 12:30 on That's Football, Southampton versus Chelsea. Hopefully Southampton can do us a favour there. We need Chelsea to stop winning at the moment. And then Everton-Liverpool tonight, this evening at 5:30. That's a big game as well. Really could do with Everton beating Liverpool or getting a draw against them, because again, why are these games big for United? Chelsea are chasing us down, 4 points behind us, and Liverpool are 6 points behind us. They're the two teams that worry me the most. We're second place. Liverpool and Chelsea are both capable of knocking us down to fourth. So big games today. Hopefully they can both drop points. I will be doing watch-alongs on Mark Goldbridge, That's Football. So join me for those from about 12:30. Not reading that. The next Messi is Freddie Adu. Look how that panned out, says Paul Lucas. I do think there is this, up the toffee, says Miko. I do think there is this obsession to try and make players the next this, the next that, and I don't think that. Is Donny back, says Ikra. I don't know whether Donny's back. We don't know whether Cavani's back. Ollie said that they will be training this morning because we're not playing till Sunday night, and then they'll make a decision from that. I would imagine that he will play next Thursday no matter what. We've got to beat Newcastle, says Dean Turner, or next month could be terrible. We have to. It's a must-win game tomorrow night. Must-win game. Van der Beek does not have players around him for the quick passing style of play. That's partly why Ollie doesn't pick him. What CDM do you want to help with this, says Rohit. I mean, the whole point about a CDM is there's so many qualities to it that you want, but you do want somebody who's good on the ball. And I look at Liverpool with Fabinho. I look at Man City with Rodri. I look at Chelsea, and I know he's a bit dodgy, Jorginho, but he is very good on the ball. Kovacic as well. You need somebody good on the ball, and obviously with Fred we haven't got that. With Matic, he's on the decline. McTominay's not a CDM. So I really do like Jimmy Garner, but he's playing at Forest in the Championship. I don't think he's going to be ready for Man United next season. So we need to bring in somebody who's good on the ball. I mean, Declan Rice ain't bad on the ball. He's not bad on the ball, but is he? I know what you mean. We need a bloody, a continental CDM really. Somebody who's just totally at ease on the ball, who can, control. Michael Carrick would be perfect. Control the tempo of the game, short and long passes. Carrick with Van der Beek would work really well. Happy birthday, Shafi. And sing Blinded by the Lights, Mark, says Sherlock. I'm not a parrot. And Mark, what's your opinion on the story of Josh Harrop and how Mourinho turned Carrington toxic, says H3R. So yeah, there's this ex-youth coach at Manchester United who's come out with a few comments about Mourinho letting players he shouldn't have let go. I don't necessarily think letting Josh Harrop I think that's a bad example. I don't see Josh Harrop as a... If he's, why is he not a Premier League player now then? We let him go. I don't think that is a good example, but what I did read with note was that he said, Carrington became a toxic place because Mourinho was just throwing his weight around. Well, that's Mourinho. He's an ego man. We knew that when we appointed him. To say we never should have given Mourinho the job contradicts what most of us thought at the time. I was happy to take him, even though I was happy he got sacked. I did want Mourinho to take the job because I wanted him to win the bloody league. And, you do make that sacrifice, don't you? But there's many a rumour over recent years of issues at Carrington, especially in the Mourinho era. Cutbacks, it's not the place it was. Hopefully it's getting back to that now. Conrad Lemar from Leipzig would be a great buy, says Brady. He would. There's a few options, but the first thing we need is Manchester United to actually be in the race for a CDM. I would try Lindelof in the CDM role. One Van Helsing, I almost feel like clapping you. I'm amazed nobody's mentioned this in this show already today, because we've mentioned Lindelof, we've spoke about CDM. I knew somebody would drop the plonker line about Lindelof as a CDM. Oh my God. Does anybody watch Lindelof play? What about Lindelof makes people think he can play at CDM? He's got such a stuttery way on the ball. He's not smooth. He's not, what's the word? Ambidextrous in the way he plays football. He doesn't convey confidence off his left side as much as he does on his right. his running style with the ball is very much kick it in front of him and run. As a CDM, you need to be balanced both ways. You need to be able to keep the ball close to you and run with it close to you. I don't see any trait, and he's also not very physical, Lindelof, and not particularly good in the air. So, and he's a slimline centre. I don't see anything in Lindelof that makes him. He can play there, but Phil Jones could play there. But we can't do that. You can't. Lindelof at CDM is the sort of thing that Newcastle would try. We need in what sentence does we need a top class CDM? Let's try Lindelof. That doesn't sit together. That sentence does not work together at all. No, I don't see anything in Lindelof that makes him a top class CDM. No. As I said, watch him play tomorrow. When he controls the ball, it always gets knocked quite far in front of him. He's not a player that's very good at moving the ball close to his feet, which is neat. CDM, it's a crowded area. It's a crowded house. Everywhere you go, it is. Yeah, let's try Cavani at CDM as well, yeah. He can give you the long passes. I think when you watch Lindelof, he can pass long, but look at how he does it. It's not quick. It's a get it out my feet and then do it. It's not quick. He is good at long passes, but it's very not laboured, but it's not efficient. He's always got a lot of time when he does it, or it's a ping over the top. I don't see Lindelof as a CDM. To me, it's a bit like Wan-Bissaka as a centre back. I don't think people actually think things through, but if you want to, maybe I'm wrong on that. You could try Ed Woodward at CDM. Do I rate Ruben Neves? I do, but Man United just don't seem capable of doing deals with Wolves anymore. So, yeah, I have seen Josh react. Yes, Denzel, I have seen it. It more annoys me so much when Ollie gives Van der Beek a chance in the FA Cup, but then plays him in the Bruno role. He is not that style of player, Herbie. No, I don't think Van der Beek's future at Manchester United is as a number 10, because he's a very different type of player as a number 10, and I don't think we've got the players that work with him as a 10. Clean sheet against Newcastle with Wilson out, maybe 3-0, says Max. Look, we've got to win. I'm going to say 2-0, even with Lindelof and Maguire at the back. I still think we'll win that game. Just watch out for the Ginger Longstaff. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, look, I'm live again in an hour and a half on That's Football, so we can continue the football chat then. It's a Southampton versus Chelsea watch-along. Join me for that. Matches have been played more this season, yes, says Simon. And Mark, do you believe Ollie is overachieving? I do, Yazza. I do think he's overachieving in the sense of where we are in the league at the moment and the lack of backing in the summer, but the season's not over. I said at the start of the season, if we get top 4, it's a good achievement. Well, we haven't got top 4 yet. I also said we've got to get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We didn't even get to the knockout stages. So there's still, I think at this moment in time, as I keep saying, let's see where we are at the end of May. I hope we will see improvement and progression on points tally, position in the league, and hopefully a trophy as well. But I do think he's overachieving at the moment, but that can change very, very quickly. Chelsea win at lunchtime, Liverpool win tonight. We're under big pressure tomorrow night, so let's see how that goes. Thanks everyone for watching. There will be an 8 o'clock show tonight, of course, and hopefully we've got another video coming up for you this afternoon. We'll see how that goes. Please subscribe, bottom right hand corner. We're on that road to 990, which then is the road to 1 million. Smash a like on the video. Have a good day. If you're joining me for That's Football, I'll see you over there for Chelsea, Southampton and Everton, Liverpool. Thanks for watching.